Hi, my name's Andy and you're watching Geek Curio. Hi there everyone, and today we're going to be continuing the Harley Quinn paint, and what we're going to be doing today is making a mask. So just a quick disclaimer, I know that there's a lot of different ways to make masks. There's a fantastic product that's available on Green Stuff World as well. However, my video is about using what you have, which is handy in the house, and things that work for me. I'm not an art teacher. I don't even consider myself an artist, I just really enjoy the hobby. But I'm going to show you what I use and what works. So, thank you. And speaking of artists, I just want to do a very quick plug for a very good friend of mine and an amazing artist, Evie Wolfang, who sent me this. This is a mug coffee coaster, and I've been using that, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's made of resin, and she does actually do commissions of these. I'm going to be asking her to do a complete winter set for me for Christmas, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. I've been using this constantly for days now, and I can't wait to get some more. I'll put some more details about Evie down below in the comments. Right, so just a quick overview of what we're going to be doing with the Harley Quinn bust. Here she is. If you've seen the previous videos, we've done some zenithal highlighting, which is basically we have a dark base and lighter colours on the top, which is naturally creating a shadow on the model. We're going to start off by painting the skin first, and what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be using the airbrush, I'm going to be masking off some of the areas. Now there's quite a few different ways to mask stuff. You can use masking tape, which would make sense. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a fantastic product from Green Stuff World which is available, which you literally just paint over the area that you don't want the paint to reach. However, as I am a bit of a cheapskate, I'm going to be using blue tack for my masking, and all I'm going to do is basically put the blue tack on the areas that I don't want to paint, so the areas I want to protect from the flesh coloured paint, and I'm just going to put that on there and create a mask. I'm not going to cover the whole miniature because it's quite a large miniature. However, I have been practicing earlier on a smaller version of this, and I did use a lot more blue tack. But I'll take some pictures and show you how I get on. Okay, so just to show you what colours I'm going to be using for the skin. For today, I'm going to be using Cadian Fleshtone from Citadel as part of the Games Workshop range. I'm also going to be using some regular blue tack. I'm not really sure what it's called elsewhere. I think just poster tack or something. And what I'm going to do is just going to peel off a bit. I'm just going to place it in the areas where I don't want the paint to reach. And I'm going to do this in most parts of the model. Not all, because like I say, it's quite a large model, so it doesn't need all of it to be covered up. But the idea is basically I just want to try and mask off an area, and as I'm going to be using the airbrush, we're going to get a nice clean line between where we want the paint to go. So as you can see, I've just done one shoulder strap, and I will tidy this up, and I'll do the rest of this off camera. Okay, so I haven't really listened to my advice, and I've actually gone and put a lot more of a mask on than I actually said I would. As you can see, I haven't masked the entire thing. I can easily cover these areas with my thumb. Same with the hair. I know how this paint is going to come out, so I've got an idea of how to spray it and where I can't spray. So I'm going to get right ahead now, and we're going to have a look at putting some paint on the model. Okay, so once again I'm wanting to spray down on the model, and I'm going to use my airbrush. I've already mixed up some Cadian Fleshtone with about 50-50 with the airbrush thinner. What you want is really up to you. What I recommend doing is basically put airbrush thinner in first and add paint to it, and then see what sort of consistency you're getting. What you don't want is a lot of splutter on your brush. So you want to see like a very smooth amount going on. So I'm going to start putting the paint on now. And like I say, we're basically just misting this. This is essentially glazing. In small bits at a time, and also let your airbrush dry the paint as well. And you do that by stop releasing the paint out and just let the air just go drift over the model. Right, so I'll carry on with this and I'll be back with you in a bit. Okay, so at the moment it's probably not looking that impressive. It's more of a mess more than anything. But if you can see, we still have the shadows from the zenithal highlighting, even though we do have some of the Fleshtone paint on there. It's still going to let this dry, so I'm going to give it a couple of minutes, and then what we'll do, we'll take the mask off and see how that's looking. Okay, so now we're going to remove the blue tack from the model, and it's just going to be a simple task of carefully peeling it off. Now, I don't recommend leaving blue tack on for a long time. I imagine it would take off quite a lot of the paint. So as I'm working quite quickly, it's okay to use blue tack like this. Hopefully in future videos I'll try and get the mask that Green Stuff World makes, and we'll give that a go at some point. You can start to see already we still have shadows on the armpits. Looks like we've got some shadows underneath the face as well, which is good. This is what I was actually aiming for, so I'm quite happy with how this has turned out so far. Okay, so I've taken the mask off. Let's have a good look at how this has come out. So I am actually quite happy with that. As I said earlier, where we wanted to have darker shades, we have that, which is good. Some paint has overspilled onto the hair and a little bit onto the costume as well, but these are things that we can easily fix. A little bit of blue tack on her front there. So the next part we're going to do is going to be looking at spraying this, I think it's a corset or something. So we're going to spray that, and I'm actually going to be using inks for this one. So we're going to be using my red ink from Daler Rowney. This is actually a really nice ink. I've been using these for the dogs that I paint for miniature mutts. And the good thing about ink is you can put it through the airbrush without having to do any sort of shooting whatsoever. So I can put that straight in. And the other good thing as well is when we spray this on the model, we'll just be building up stronger and stronger tones of red. So we should see it a lot lighter at the top here and much darker on here. How this is going to turn out on the black, I don't know at the moment. So it might be a case that we might need to switch over to an acrylic paint in the future. But we'll see how it goes anyway. Okay, so I have cleaned my airbrush and I have masked this model. So just to give you a good view of what's going on, I've covered all the areas that I've painted already on the back as well. And as I said before, I'm going to be using this red ink from Daler Rowney. And let's get to it. Right, so I'm just going to put a few drops of this into my airbrush for now. And these are handy because they come with a dropper, which is good. Nice. So remember to always bubble first. Just to let you know as well, with the mask, I didn't push down too hard with the blue tack. So the reason for this is I don't want to ruin the paint that's already on there. So you've got to remember, even though I've waited for the paint to dry, it's still quite fresh paint. So the last thing we want to do is remove anything that we've already done already. And like I say, I've not watered down this ink at all, and it is actually going quite nicely on the black, but we might need to use a little bit more. You can see it's going on quite thick. What I'm doing now is I'm just letting air blow through the airbrush, as I have mentioned in a previous video, and this actually helps dry what's on the model. You can see on my hand, that's how it's coming out, and that's what we want, because eventually we can build up quite a strong and solid red. Okay, so I finished spraying the red on. The model has dried, and I've just finished removing the mask, and let's see how it's turned out. Right, I'll do a bit of a closer up in a short while, but I think it's looked okay. We have unfortunately had a bit where the red has leaked in under the mask, but yeah, it's starting to come together now. Okay, so the thing that I like about the ink is we get this, it's still quite translucent, and it looks very, very glossy as well. So there is a bit of mess, but we can tidy that up, no problem. And I'll probably tidy that up with the brush. But all in all, that's worked out quite well, and I'm quite happy with the shading. As you can see underneath her chin, it's a lot darker than the top of her face. So as you view it, you can see the light reflection, and that's come through quite well. Okay, so thank you for making it here to the end of the video. Really appreciate you watching, and I really have appreciated the comments as well. So if you'd like to add more comments, please do so down below. I think this is going to be the last of the airbrush videos that I'm doing. The reason for this is, like I said in early ones, I do buy the cheap workhorse airbrushes, and mostly they are for priming my miniatures. And I think now it's starting to look like these are starting to come to the end of their life. I had to clean this quite a few times during the making of this video, and the needle is starting to get quite worn. But like I say, this is the difference between spending £10 on an airbrush and the £200 ones. Now, looking at other YouTubers, particularly Airbrush Asylum, who I do recommend, although he doesn't do miniatures, he does some amazing things with an airbrush, but he actually uses an Iwata, which is quite expensive, but the results that he gets from it really, really good. And that's hopefully where I'm going to be in a couple of years' time as well. So hopefully I'll be moving my way up to that eventually. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Take care and stay safe. Ta-ta for now.